What's going on YouTube? It's Neon Velocity here, and we're going to be talking about the Diablo II Resurrected Technical Alpha Learnings blog post that happened on July 13th, which was today. However, when the time that you see this video will be yesterday. But regardless, there's all kinds of great information in here that talks about what type of visual enhancements, some changes to the actual mini-map, some quality of life tweaks that I did not expect to see, and a few other things. So let's go ahead and dive right in it. By the way, if you're new here, make sure that you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell for when future videos get uploaded to the channel. Let's dive into it. So first and foremost, we know that the Diablo 2 Technical Alpha happened in April. I was unfortunately not able to participate in it due to not being invited, but that's okay. But there was a lot of good things that came out of it. There's a lot of good feedback from all the players that were playing it, whether it was via Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, Discords, the Blizzard forums, all over the place. There was a lot of good feedback. And so what the Vicarious Visions team did is take that feedback, start consolidating it, and make some good changes. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. So I'm going to already have some of this stuff highlighted for us to go ahead and get the main points. So let's go ahead and recap this right here. Following the April test, the Diablo II Resurrected team continues to make significant progress towards getting the game into everyone's hands. So it's very good, so we're on track for September 23rd. Today, we're thrilled to share what we learned from the technical alpha, leading to key visual improvements, quality of life, and accessibility changes, and more. So, we got quality of life, key visual improvements, and accessibility, which all sound very good. And going down into the arts and visual section, the very first visual effect that's been upgraded is the lightning sorceress skill. It's a powerful skill which shoots a bolt of electricity from the sorcerer's fingertips, and based on community feedback, the visual effect has been enhanced with a wider and thicker visualization that is more reminiscent of the original VFX. So this is good because if I remember correctly, it kind of was a little weak, if you will. But much better improvement. Obviously, there's no image of it like we see right here with the Blizzard one. We'll go ahead and click this and get a little zoomed in. You can see how it looked in the technical alpha right there, but then now here it is. It's got the angle slope coming in. It's a lot cleaner. It looks a little bit nicer. It doesn't look as weak actually as well. So I do like the way that this is coming about in the technical, or from the technical alpha to where we are after the feedback. So very good right there. The sorceress may summon an ice storm to rain cold death upon or onto her enemies, and it obviously got adjusted for make it look better because it is a very strong skill. We all know that Blizzard sorcerers are very strong, and so therefore that alpha, technical alpha graphics wasn't very strong looking, to be quite honest, but much improved. The Holy Freeze Paladin skill also has been updated. It's now constantly slow and freeze enemies in near proximity, and the VFX for this area of effect aura has been updated to better represent the distinct wispiness and colors from the original game, which is nice. Also, it talks about monster targets, and there's just some good images here, so we'll zoom in on this. You can see it's a nice clean barrier. I mean, that is beautiful looking. Like, actually, if you look at everything on this screen right now, like, look at the shadows and the highlights of all of this. Like, this is actually really nice, and the sorceress looks amazing. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in this screenshot. So absolutely great work by the visual team here. And again, here in Act 2, we get to see it again. Oh my goodness, like, just the detail on this. Like, I haven't had a chance to zoom in on these photos up until now, but like, even the rugs, like, everything is absolutely beautiful. The skill here looks great. I mean, goodness gracious, it's a beautiful update. And here's another one from Act 2. Looks like a far oasis, Lost City area. I mean, geez, you can see the cold effects happening right there. It's just awesome looking. You can see that it says the visual effects for when monsters are damaged or immobilized by skills such as cold spells, poisons, or other status effects underwent a color revision based on community feedback. Then we move into the animation updates, and this is the mana and health. Basically, the speed of the animation when mana and health return to your character via using a potion, for example, better aligns with the feeling of the health and mana globe. So I guess it will be more synchronized to be a little bit more accurate to when you're getting that amount of life or mana back into your bar, if you will. Then they also updated the icons, and this is where things get very interesting because I did not know this at the time. Again, I didn't have a chance to play the alpha, and I haven't had a lot of ability to look at like files like this, but they were able to include the color of the scroll, gem, and potion icons have been amplified. And this is really important to look at because if we look at it just right here, you can see that we have Diablo 2 on the top row and the technical alpha in the middle row, and then the post feedback for what we will be seeing in 1 month or 2 months time, depending on when you're able to play Diablo 2 Resurrected. You can see just the quality of life from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3 here. You can see it's got more of the reminiscent look of the Diablo 2. It's a lot darker, which is, I think, the most key point here. Is not washed out. It looks very strong, and you can see there's definitely a key difference from a weaker to a greater style potion right there with the health potions. We also see this with the gems, and it's actually funny when we look at the gems because we knew what they were trying to go for, right? In Diablo 2, you obviously knew what the difference was just based off, you know, the progression of the gems. But here, when you're at the lower level, the chip gems, like, I don't know what they were trying to do right here in the technical alpha, but no, it doesn't even look like a chip gem. But they have definitely updated that. You can see it right here where it's a little bit darker. Nicely done there. I will say the only thing I don't like about this one right here is this gem right here looks way cooler than the one below. Personally, I think that this needs to be swapped. Maybe even both of these need to be swapped. I can't actually show that. Actually, let me hide my camera here. You can see that it looks way better right here on the right side with these two. Personally, I would definitely like to see Blizzard make a swap here back to these two, but keep these three the same. I think that would be the best choice, and obviously it's still an ongoing, so they may just do that. And then the final one is going to be the skulls here. You can see the Diablo 2 again is on top, the technical alpha in the middle, and the technical alpha post feedback right here. And it definitely looks more reminiscent of the original Diablo 2 game. I definitely think that this is a much better upgrade, way more cleaner actually as well, more detail added to each one in my opinion. Maybe not so much this one, but the last three, there looks to be a little bit more detail. So I definitely like the way that they're going here with these visual effects. And I'm only keeping this one here because I think it's important to show, but I'm not seeing a major overhaul like change here. I just don't see it, except maybe in the shield. You can see they added like this gold plated outline or some type of, I don't know what this is exactly, some type of gold look, but they removed that, moved it back over here. I'm assuming that the changes here are to illustrate that they have made a better quality of life visual effect for when an item is in your inventory. So I do like the fact that they've made changes. It does look a little bit cleaner. It looks a little bit more similar there to the original. So I do think that they did good there. So I guess overall, if we were to really think about it, the health potions are the biggest upgrade. But regardless, it is nice to see those get back to what should have looked like, not that washed out look there. So I do like that. Much better there. And then we go into the quality of life, and this is where we start talking about where they're making things easier for the players, and things in 2001 and way back then compared to now. Obviously there's a lot of things that have changed, so let's kind of talk about that. And one of the first things that we already knew about was the auto gold pickup, but they've also added large font modes, UI scaling for PC players, so that's really nice. So you can maybe make it bigger or smaller depending on what your preferences are, and the gamma and contrast settings to enhance readability. And then they've also taken strides to equip players with customization options to suit their needs. So this means you can tweak your HUD, your graphics, and just find whatever works best for you. We'll be touching on our efforts to make Diablo 2 Resurrected more accessible in a later, more detailed blog post. So this is just the start. Under the user interface settings, there's a toggle update. And I believe this is going to act very similar to maybe Diablo 3, where if we click on this image right here, item label display. And I believe this is going to make it to where when an item drops, we're going to be able to automatically see what the name of the item is. If it's unidentified or so forth, we'll be able to know what that is. So I do like the fact that they also are making that here. And also one other thing that is good to note is this user interface icon set right here. There's a new little one called show clock. So we're going to be able to see the time locally, I guess, maybe on Battle.net, or maybe just your local time. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do this, but you can enable all these settings and have the orb text so you can see how much life you have on your health, and then obviously how much mana you have on your bar there. So these are good little changes, and obviously we can see the chat font size has been adjusted, and we can see the new potions down here below. So this just looks really good. A lot of accessibilities, and surely they're still hiding a few things from us here. So obviously we know that they said that we've heard you loud and clear. Now we can choose to have the items names be toggled on or off with the press of a button, or you can keep the original press and hold method, which I guess would be just pressing and holding Alt or Shift or whatever that button is. I can't remember off the top of my head, and you can just choose it at your own discretion. Also, they made a shared stash tab upgrade and storage upgrade. So basically, after thinking about it internally, the shared stash will now have 3 tabs rather than just one. So you can see once we open up this image, there was just a personal and a shared, but now there is one more and another. So you have 2 shared stashes and some really good clean icons here for the weapons and the jewelry in the game. And geez, man, what they've done with overall these graphics is just truly great. I absolutely love what they've done here. So a nice little change there, and this is going to be a big overhaul. I do think that there's going to be some pain here from some players, more the legacy players that don't want things like this in the game, but I do think that this is a good direction for them. This change will enable players to better organize their loot across 3 tabs, 100 slots each of storage space, and store more items. And then they have a compare tooltip toggle update. The compare tooltip has been on every item, and basically you hold a button to compare. You can now toggle it on and off, and many players thought this prompt added unnecessary clutter, so this is good. I honestly don't have any hands-on experience with it, but anything that removes clutter from the screen is good in my book. And then there's an auto map improvement. The auto map has always enabled players to better navigate the game by providing a faint overlay. So when you press tab on your screen, you would be able to see the overlay of the map. You have a little icon, a blue icon of where you were, and so forth. They've implemented new assets to improve the readability of the auto map. For example, the faint overlay's color has been tweaked so they don't blend too much into the game world that the player was exploring. This is really good because it does get complicated. You can start kind of like getting things a little mixed up if you're not familiar with the map and the tile set. Then the map settings option update. The initial map settings caused some confusion in technical alpha. Now there will be a single map option with 3 settings. Those settings will be left minimap, right minimap, and center full screen. Simply enable your preference for how you want your map to be displayed on your HUD. Obviously, at a high level, we've already talked about clock being added, so you can see the time of the local time on your screen. And then they also made a loading screen, character vulnerability, and time update or change as well. Characters will no longer spawn in a hostile place until the game is fully loaded, preventing characters from getting attacked or harmed during a loading screen. This is good, especially if you're a hardcore player. I'm not sure if this was a big issue or not due to the lack of ability to play the game, but again, a nice quality of life change. And then they made an audio change based on community feedback. We removed extra grunts and yelps that were initially added. I don't know if this is problematic or it takes away from the game in any way, but I would like to know how that sounded. And maybe I didn't really notice anybody talking about this in the videos that I've watched, but maybe this is a big thing. And obviously, the improvements detailed above that we just went over in this video are just some examples of the changes they made to improve Diablo 2 Resurrected based on the player feedback. And, you know, keep giving beta feedback as we move closer and closer to the September 23rd launch. So what's coming up next, right? This is what everybody wants to know. And we know that if you pre-order the game today, you will get access to the multiplayer beta here in August. So you'll be able to play with your friends on the Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. Remember, there is no cross-play, but there is cross-progression. So if you're on Xbox, you can play with your Xbox friends. On PlayStation, play with your PlayStation friends. And of course, if you're on PC, you will be able to play with all your friends on PC through Battle.net 2.0. So rally your friends together. You'll be able to play between 5 different classes: the Amazon, Barbarian, Paladin, Sorceress, and Druid. Sorry. So that means that we're leaving out who? We're leaving out the Necromancer and the Assassin. So that means we're still leaving out 2 characters. So that kind of sucks. That would be fun to play both of them, but I'm sure there's something going on with visual effects or something around the lines. And you'll have the access to many unique skills and form up to 8 players. So this is going to be good because we're going to finally be able to see how this game looks like in a multiplayer facet with multiple players running around at one time on these servers and how they're going to hang. I'm very curious to see how these handle where things are with all these graphical overhauls compared to where they were 20 years ago. When they started working on Diablo 2 Resurrected, they were humbled by such an incredible opportunity to plunge into the past and rebuild the nostalgic look, but they also recognized that the game is an original classic for a reason, so they were trying to be very careful with that. So very happy with the changes that are coming to Diablo 2 Resurrected with the next upcoming multiplayer beta. There's a lot of good stuff coming, and obviously more changes behind the scenes that we don't know about just yet, but I'm sure we'll be hearing something within the next few weeks before we march forward to the actual release, I think, which is in about 10 weeks. So it's here before you know it. And obviously there's going to be some blog posts coming pretty hot. I would suggest that everybody be ready for some more major quality of life changes. I just have a feeling in my gut that Blizzard and Vicarious Visions will make those, but we'll see what comes of it. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one, and I hope that everybody is having a great afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. So see you later. Peace.